This weekend will mark a brand new low for America in the eyes of the world. It also marks a new low for Donald Trump and his now well-documented record of showing disrespect and glee for destroying the country's most iconic and historic symbols and pretty much everything the country has stood for. Trump is hosting a tragically tacky UFC cage match on a massive stage that he constructed on the south lawn of the White House. We've reported that here on this show. Late today, a federal judge is allowing the fight to proceed. Tonight, Donald Trump is kicking things off with a UFC press event, and tomorrow an official weigh-in where the fighters have to get on a scale, I guess, to make sure they make weight, and that'll happen in front of the Lincoln Memorial, the site of Martin Luther King Jr.'s iconic I Have a Dream speech in one of our nation's most hallowed and storied and visited locations. Bill Kristol writes this in the Bulwark today about Trump's UFC fight, quote, "I do think it's an event that captures something about this moment in our history. After all, it's vulgar, it is violent, it is commercial, it's grandiose, it's tacky, and it dishonors a place once thought worthy of care and respect. In other words, it's Donald Trump." I want to bring in staff writer for The Atlantic, Sally Jenkins. She's covered the importance of sports in American life in the magazine's issue on the country's 250th anniversary. Tim is still with us. Sally, what do you make and what are Americans to make of this event?
Well, about 30 million Americans watch Ultimate Fighting. It's an enormously popular I wouldn't call it a sport. I'm not sure it's a sport when the rules allow for choking an opponent to the point of blackout. One of the things Donald Trump has said about why he likes it so much is because of the element of punishment. And I think that there's something bigger than mere dishonor going on here. I mean, I think that unfortunately there's a taste for this stuff. And I think that one of the things that the Trump administration likes to do is to sort of raise the threshold over and over and over again. And so, it's a tried and true sports strategy to commit so many fouls that the referees can't call them all. And that's a little bit of what we're seeing here, I think.
Tim, it is like every chapter of the Trump story. He goes to UFC fights, and there are a lot of people who are happy to see him there. But he takes everything to sort of the perverted extreme in erecting a cage match, an octagon. I still don't understand exactly what it is that he's built on the south lawn of the White House and sort of perverting all of these spaces that used to represent the whole country with something that's very specific to his taste.
Yeah, it's at the Claw, I think. It used to be the Beta stage and at a music event. I don't know, something to that effect. I think that's appropriate. Look, Bill's article at the Bulwark this morning, I'd asked people to read because he was so good on this, and he brings in the historical perspective and the manner in which this is vulgar and the manner with which this insults all of the public servants and leaders who've come before it. And I'm not sure how much more I can add to that. It's gross, and I think it's corrupt, I guess would be the thing that I would add to it. Like, it's not just the vulgarity, but it's the corruption. Dana White, the head of UFC, was a supporter of Trump's, got to speak at the convention. This is unbelievable publicity. There are brand sponsors on the White House lawn. And, all of it is a perfect perfect encapsulation of the Trump era with the corruption and the vulgarity. I would add one caveat, I think, though, to my Democratic friends. I do want to say this, which is you would never do things exactly like Trump, and I would never call for it. But I do think it's important to have fun in politics. And I think that sometimes as we head into a weekend, I'm going into Pride weekend here in New Orleans, I'm going to go have fun after this. And I think that we can criticize them and mock them. But sometimes I think that can veer into wagging your finger at people and saying, don't have fun. And I don't think that's served the pro-democracy movement that well. So I think that I hold those two thoughts together while fearing for the direction of our democracy.
Well, here in New York, everyone is off to watch the Knicks this weekend. Sally, I guess it's important, and I should have been more specific. It's not just about a sporting event at the White House. It's about the completely corrupt nature of this one. I mean, this is for profit. Donald Trump didn't pay for it out of his personal riches and invite the country's underprivileged who happen to be UFC fans. He is grifting off the entire event.
Right. I mean, there's crypto.com literally on the steps mounting up to the stage. There's sponsor logos all over the claw and the stage itself. And yes, Tim is right. Dana White is an old ally going back to the 1980s when Donald Trump was running casinos. Donald Trump was hosting Ultimate Fighting events at a time when they were illegal in most states, and John McCain was trying to have them federally outlawed. And yes, the question of whether the president is profiting off of this event is a big one that needs some getting to the bottom of for certain. I also, this is an event that's based on no rules. OK, and so the appropriateness of that is one question. Certainly, there don't seem to be any economic rules with this White House. And to pick up on one thing Tim said, there have been hijinks on the South Lawn of the White House before. I mean, the Lincoln boys, ran pet goats all over the place, and George W. Bush had horseshoes and T-ball games out there. I mean, it is supposed to be a place to have some fun at the White House. That is true.